It was very personal to those of us who watched it, too, because it was a shock to our system to see that. Because, I mean, you're talking to a guy who helped raise $25 million for Joe Biden in March of that same year. And three months later,
for that. Thank you for stepping in and doing that.
I saw a guy who I had not seen backstage at the benefit that I did. It seemed like a dramatically different person. And at 81 years old, that's not entirely unexpected. You can imagine why people got so worried.
A couple of things. I got to see Joe Biden almost every day. And this is a question that I take very seriously. No one has ever said he hasn't aged. No one ever said that. He would make jokes about it. He would acknowledge it. And he would say, yes, I know I don't speak this as well as I used to. I don't walk as well as I used to. No one is saying that he didn't age. I'm talking about, did he have the question that I was getting, the mental acuity? Was he able to govern?
More than that to be the president of the United States. And in a moment of great pressure on stage, we saw someone shock us and worry us. And nothing could assuage that worries. What happened was the debate performance. Everything is downstream of that.
And no one is saying that the debate performance wasn't shocking, wasn't a disappointment. No one is saying that.
Disappointment is such a light term.
I use your words.
It was harrowing.
I use your words.
Okay, look.
Now, finally, former Joe Biden White House press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre has unleashed on the Democrat Party in her new memoir, explaining why she decided to ditch the Democrats altogether and become an independent. Now, she wrote about Joe Biden and how he was essentially pushed out of the race last year, and she wrote, I was angry and sad and was enraged and heartbroken that this man had given more than 50 years of his life to serving the American people, and in the end, he'd been treated poorly by members of his own party. It was horrible. I mean, Hillary, it's interesting reading these comments coming out of her memoir, because we've just heard really Kamala Harris blasting the Democrats as well in her book, 107 Days. And that Karine Jean-Pierre, Kamala Harris, neither of them are really helping the Democrats right now.
No, they're not. And I look at it as sort of like the Ides of March, A2 Bruti, because I look at it as another stab, right? I mean, the Democratic Party, this is the last thing they need. They need everyone on board because they're sinking in the polls. They're not doing well at all. And I do think they don't have much of a future, because who's the leader of the Democratic Party? Who are they going to put up? It's purported that obviously Kamala is thinking about running for a national position again, and she didn't win any of the swing states, any of the popular vote, the electoral college. So I think this is very bad. And Karine Jean-Pierre, I mean, what she's saying is actually the sentiment of a lot of Democrats, and they're split, divided, and they're a divided party across the nation, and that's one of their problems.
Hillary Fordwich, president and founder of Strelmark, thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure, Gabriella. Thank you for having me.
Said Kamala wasn't qualified to be president. She's just come out and said she's the most qualified candidate ever. I mean, it is quite incredible. She says people are saying this. I don't know which people are precisely saying this, but she claims people are saying this.
Well, if people are saying it, it must be true. It's funny because Donald Trump says that a lot. People are saying this. People are saying this. And now she said it. People are saying this. I mean, no, she not only was not, first off, she was not qualified to be vice president. She was hired, in essence, or chosen to be vice president because of her skin color and her gender. That's what Joe Biden himself said. So for anyone that's angry when people say that, that's why Joe Biden said he selected her. And let's not forget, in her own primary against Joe Biden, she was polling at about 1% in her party before she dropped out. Look, she's largely irrelevant. She also had a coup of a sitting president because they clearly pushed Biden out against his will, even though he obviously was not qualified to be president or to continue to be president right now. I mean, look, it's only roughly a year ago that the man was still running for president. It's a little more than a year ago. Exactly. And it was only because of that debate that they forced him out. Now, all of us online, I've been watching your show for a long time. You were making the same jokes over here in Australia that I was making about him in America. So all of them need to go away for a while and let Donald Trump fix things, and then we can pick this up in a couple of years.
Well, the Democrats do have a crisis in leadership right now because Kamala is the front runner in the eyes of many to be the presidential candidate next time around again for the Democrats. You've got the likes of Bernie, you've got that crazy, was it Katie Porter in California, front runner to be governor, Zoran Mamdani in New York. I mean, this seems to be a party that is now led by its most radical elements. What does that mean?
It is a clown car. It is a clown car. If you went to a circus and a little car showed up and then they just coming out with a crazier clown and a crazier clown and a crazier clown. Look, what does it say? It says that the inmates are running the asylum. It says that the liberals did not know how to defend liberalism. And it also says that, look, what does it say about a party when John Fetterman, a man who quite literally had brain damage a year ago, is now the sanest person in the party? But he is, and he's on his way out, and he's on his way out of the party, I would say. He might have a bright future in Republican politics, but unfortunately, the progressives, the Marxists, the Islamists, they have all combined into something very, very dangerous. It has rotted out the Democrat Party. And for anyone that is a Democrat of, say, 1992, a Bill Clinton Democrat, or even before that, you are now a Republican. If you think America's fundamentally decent, if you want us to be the last remaining superpower and exert power over the world in a positive sense, which we can and still do, look what just happened in the Middle East, then you should be a Republican. And it's a tenuous thing to hold on the Republican side, but it is way better than that clown car.